Hi, I'm Gretchen from Kushli. I've been knitting and crocheting for about 4 years, and I started out by making or crocheting toques and selling them in some local stores, and I've expanded to making stuffed animals and clothes and things, and I've really focused on, if you see my sweater, on using recycled yarn and scrap yarn to make new projects. I was born in Abbotsford, BC, so I'm from Canada, and then a few years ago, me and my family moved to Kimberley, BC, which is further east, and my cousins also moved here from Norway, and they all knew how to knit, so when I came here, they taught me how to knit, and then I had done a little bit of crocheting when I was about 7 years old, but it didn't go so great. So I decided since I knew how to knit, I would try pick up crocheting again. I normally use a lot of cottons and things, but I think my favorite fiber would have to be Angora, actually. I've only used it maybe once to do a bit of embroidery on the front of a stuffed animal because it was so soft. And I got a ball about the size of my fist at the thrift store for 75 cents a couple years ago, and I've been saving it for something, I'm not sure yet, but it's so soft that sometimes I just go and feel it while it's sitting in my drawer. I really love this question, and also, by the way, you might hear my bird chirping a bit in the background, but yeah, so I think that craft can change the world because for me especially, it's taught me a lot more about communication, and through teaching workshops and writing patterns, I've learned a lot more about how to articulate exactly what I'm trying to say and what I'm feeling and putting that into making something. And I think that craft is important because if you tell someone the wrong thing, then that could really alter what you're trying to help them to do. And also, I think it's kind of made me a better shopper in the sense that I am more conscious of how much work and energy and time goes into something. So I try to buy more things from small businesses and stuff because I understand what that process is. Well, the answer to this question could be a number of things. And I think as far as clothing and kind of the lifestyle I'm trying to adapt with making my own clothes a lot, I'm really inspired by, me and my parents watch the Mary Tyler Moore Show a few times a week, and it's always fun to see all the different outfits from different points in time and just drawing inspiration from that. And some of my favorite books are things like Anne of Green Gables and Little Women, and just seeing their lifestyle also at a different point in time and how that crafts like knit and crochet even played into how they would buy clothing or make their own or even make tablecloths and stuff like that, and just how that fits into someone's actual lifestyle. And also my dad has his own business and he writes books and stuff, and so he's been self-employed and stuff, and I think that's part of my goal is because I would really like to be self-employed myself, so that's been a lot of help too. Oh, this is a tough one, because I think I like knitting and crocheting for very different reasons. I'd say that with knitting, I really like the look of it, but if you make a mistake, as you knitters probably know, it's hard to backtrack, and if you add too many stitches at one spot, you can't just undo a little bit, and you can't take your needles out of the project, otherwise you are kind of doomed. But and I also think that it's easier to experiment with shapes in crochet, so I think I prefer that for my style of making things and experimenting. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with crochet. My favorite part about being in the gang or the knitting community would be that people are so encouraging And because everyone who is there has had the same struggles of learning all the different steps and building up a business and stuff, that people are encouraging and so willing to offer tips and things because they know that that's what they would have wanted when they were starting out. And also, there's no one hating on anyone else or anything. There's people who will give good criticism that is always so helpful because those are the things you want to know about how you can grow. And yeah, I think it's just a very good, like, progressive and evolving community. As much as I love working with animal fibers like wool and stuff, I think I prefer vegan ones because sometimes when I'm working with wool, as you guys all probably know, there's particles that are flying up and sometimes you'll sneeze or something while using it. So I prefer to use cotton and or bamboo and other vegan fibers like that because it doesn't make me sneeze every once in a while. For this one, I think I'm gonna have to go with Mindy from Tales of Butterflies because she does crochet and she incorporates sewing into her work and does embroidery and stuff, and everything she makes just looks so cool and is something I'd totally add to my wardrobe. And since I've just discovered her recently, I haven't been able to make anything from any of her patterns yet, but in the future, when I have some time to do some selfish crocheting, then I'd love to make some of her products because yeah, they're just so cool. Okay, this is going to sound a bit strange and maybe like a plan that Dwight Schrute would come up with, one of his survival plans, but I've thought about this a lot. I would have the world's largest picnic blanket because right now it's about 3.5 acres and from the sounds of it, it's only growing. So with all that fabric, I could make myself a tent and a hammock and I could cut up so much of it to make t-shirt yarn, so I'd have an almost endless yarn supply. And also then if there was a helicopter or a plane flying overhead, they would probably notice the acres of fabric and maybe I would be saved from the desert island.